Hey, what's going on? It's Andy. Are you a fan of your mom's home cooking? Good, because I am too. And if you answered no to that, yikes, I don't know, you're in deep trouble. I am gonna talk about diet traps. That's right, the things that are gonna derail you from your body transformation glory, all right? I have been watching what I eat for like 30 years. So I know all about the little things that are gonna come up that are really gonna stop you, all right? I've got three main areas that are the most important ones, all right? So I'm gonna start right away with the first one, and that is social events. Yeah, this is the hardest part about keeping your diet consistent, okay? What's gonna happen is you're gonna make it through Monday through Friday, and then on Friday, you're gonna go out with your friends like I did. I went to the Penmar golf course last Friday. It's a really cool thing in the summer. They have live music out on the golf course, and you sit there with a blanket. So everybody's having a good time, and then everyone gets hungry, and they're like, let's go eat. So we went to a restaurant, and the pressure starts cooking in there, right? Because everyone sits around and ordering, oh man, I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna eat this. And so what do? Well, what I do is I order something like a diet soda, right? And maybe eat some 0-calorie stuff. And people look at you like you are like unwell. Like, oh no, we need an intervention. They're shocked, they're angry. They're like frustrated and mad with you, and they're like, are you okay? What's wrong? What's wrong? That is what you're gonna deal with like every single social event, right? That's why, talking about mom's cooking is like, you're gonna have to tell your mom, like, I am on a plan. I can't pig out on like a half pan of lasagna like I usually do, right? And that's gonna shock people. It really is there's like a psychological, effect where we evolved like eating food together. And so when you turn food down, it sends a big signal of rejection. So it's gonna be tricky with your social networks, how you're gonna handle that, right? But I say come at them with some confidence, right? Say, I'm on a mission, I am doing this diet, and I can eat a little bit, but I can't eat it like normal. But I love it. All right, I love it and I wish I could have it, okay? That's how I would approach it, okay? Because that's gonna happen like every single meal. So a trick I do, and I actually did this before I went to the Penmar, is I pre-eat, okay? Pre-eat. Now I had never heard of this anywhere. I came up with this, so this is an original idea as far as I'm concerned, but I'm sure someone else has done it too. But I will whip up like something like 5 eggs or whatever pure protein, just almost pure protein, before I go out, all right? And that way, you already hit your protein goals, right? And if you don't eat any carbs, then you might be able to have a few liquid carbs if you like when you go out, right? And then you turn down the big meal at the restaurant, and boom, you're fed. You hit your limits, and you only had like, one awkward moment where you had to, calm everyone down that you're okay, all right? So pre-eat, that is a really important trick, that's gonna get you through this, all right? So those social events, man, they're tricky, and that's the main area, okay? Now, another reason though, the social events, they actually can be positive though, all right? So take for instance, your motivation, right? So how are you gonna stay motivated through those snowy winter months? Let's say you live in, I always pick these fun places. How about Fargo, North Dakota? Or how about Grand Rapids? It's probably a few degrees colder up there, right? Man, how are you gonna stay motivated like in the middle of the winter when it's January 9th, the suckiest day of all? It's tough. So social events are what's gonna help you get through the tough winter months. So mark spring break as the day where you are gonna like shed your, feathers, your coat, and come out of the ashes, right? Emerged as like a beautiful, shredded, body transformed person, right? So having events is a helpful motivator, right? So spring break's a great one because it's early enough in the year. It's like March, right? So another one is the 4th of July is a good one, right? 4th of July, by the 4th of July, I'm gonna look good, okay? So now we are not even to the 4th of July this year yet, right? But that's like next week. So that's not enough time. But setting those social events as reasons to get you motivated is a good thing, right? Labor Day is another one. Now it's hard to have Thanksgiving or Christmas as one, or Hanukkah, or Lunar New Year, depending on what your holiday is. But if you don't have a culture of like going outside to the water, it might be hard to get motivated too. So you can still use a family reunion as a way to show up transformed, and that's a reason to be proud of your hard work, okay? So you can use Thanksgiving as a deadline, or like I said, your major holiday of choice, Christmas, right? Yeah, all right, cool. So that'll help you stay on track, all right? So those social events, good and bad stuff. All right, the second area of diet derailments is the observer effect, okay? Now, I did some research beforehand and I can't seem to find any solid information on this. So this is just my firsthand experience over 30 years, right? So it goes something like this. You start trying to cut fat off your body and you look in the mirror, and every day you look in the mirror and a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, and you just look the same. You just look the same and you're like, man, this is really demotivating because I just look the same every day. Well, this is what I call the observer effect. I have seen with myself, and I know a few of my other friends have as well, not everybody, but if your gains are small, you can't see the change. Because, for instance, your body puts on about 1 pound of muscle per month, okay? So that is like too hard to perceive visually. And especially if you look at yourself every day in the mirror, you will see effectively no change over each consecutive day. However, if you see yourself on day 1 compared to day 30, you'll be able to see a change, all right? So that's why I recommend taking some photographs, all right? Progress photos, all right? So me, I'm here with you, so I'm taking photos of myself all the time, so I'm not doing it right now. But it is interesting to go back through my thumbnails because each one of them is the actual start of the video to see how my body is changing, right? So I have a goal. I want to try to get to as close to 5 or 6% as I can, body fat percentage. So right now, yesterday I was at 8.5, and I dropped 2 pounds at the gym. I weigh myself at the gym. So this is helpful to see how much my progress is going, right? So I also have these social events coming up too, right? 4th is next week. I got company coming over. So it's good to track it with visuals, right? That's a handy tool because you're gonna start off and that first week is always the hardest. The first day is actually the hardest. And that's gonna be the hardest part, and that's where you're gonna see the least amount of change, okay? So make sure you stick with it, right? And track it with photos. So you're gonna need to go, weeks before you really start to say, hey, I do look different, right? So keep that in mind, all right? Along those same lines, we've got another and a third diet trap, and that is the I've reached the end effect. Now this is another one that I can't seem to find any information out there. That's why this is kind of fun to tread new ground in the psychology of diet and fitness, right? But man, I have realized that this is a major effect that could get in your way for body transformation glory, right? It goes something like this. You might be familiar with going to the gym and doing a set of 10, right? Okay, a set of 10. And what happens is you get to 10 and you're like, okay, 10. And you're like, I'm done. and you feel tired, right? You feel like you have reached the end, and you literally actually believe that you are at the end, right? And then a cute girl walks by and you get the bar back off and you're like 12, 16, 22, 24, 20. Then all of a sudden you have all this energy, right? It is the effect where your brain like kicks you out, hits the stop button, the halt, they pull the breaker, right? It tricks you into thinking you're done. And you are not done. You have more to go. All right? So this applies to your daily workouts. You know, you're like, oh, here's my workout, and you do it all and you think you're done. Man, I like to go till failure, because failure is when you say do a set of 10, but you still have more in the tank, you keep going 12 until your muscles quit. Okay, that's what failure means. I like to go to failure because I am aware of this effect telling you that you're done when you're not done. But when you're like me, this will still kick in even when you're going till failure, right? Because if the hot girl walks by, I will still find a way to do 6 more, okay? So just be aware of this effect and try to make sure that you are pushing yourself to the end of your gas, the end of the tank you've got, all right? Yeah, the awareness of it is gonna help you out. Now this is also true for your diet too, and your appearance, all right? So let's say you've been doing this for like dieting and working on your fitness for like about a month. You look in the mirror and you're like, wow, I look really good. I look different, I look good, and I'm tired from working out and I'm hungry, and I think I reached the end. No. You have more. You've got more, right? And I've learned this in all different dimensions of my life, man. Like, the best one is wrestling, right? High school wrestling. When you think you're tired, you have more. There is more in the tank, right? So when you are on your way down, losing body fat, there is more. So the point right now is that it is wise to be aware of the I've reached the end phenomenon or effect, right? So once you're aware of that, you can catch yourself and say, wait a minute, nope, I can keep going more, all right? So, following that same train of thought, if you've been dieting a month, you might have to take a little leveling off. They call it a deload week. I don't know, this terminology is kind of crazy, but you basically kind of take it easy for a week, eat at your budget, and then you can start again. So your diet doesn't just go like this perfectly to your goal. It's like this. That's what it does, all right? So keep that in mind. It's like your body will, basically try to psych you out and like stop you and trick you all the way down to the end. Because like I said before, we have evolved with a caveman mentality to stay alive and to eat the food and to rest when you need to conserve it. So you have to override that instinct, right? All right, good. So be aware that you are probably not to the end. Now, if you get to like say where the range that I am in, probably like, well, I'm at 8.5% body fat now. If you're at 10 to 15, you better double check your research, do your due diligence so that you make sure that you're on a safe path to getting to where you're going. But odds are you have a lot of time to get there. If you're under 10%, make sure you double check that you're gonna do it in a safe way. And then you have to juggle too, like, what is your goal? Is your goal, to look good? And so then that gets in the realm of, I don't know, physique art, of oneself. Do you necessarily look better at 6% than 10? That's debatable, right? So you actually might be done when you reach that level, okay? But the odds are you probably are still gonna keep looking better until you get down to the 12 to 15% range, all right? Got it? Good. And good for you guys. That was a bunch of really good tips to make sure you don't get derailed and you can stay with it all the way, right through the cold winter months with the snow outside. Oh man, it's like nice and warm in LA right now. I don't want any snow. I bet you don't either, right? All right, guys, thanks for sticking with me. Ready? Let's go.